Good morning and welcome once again to your Renewed Faith devotions as we're reflecting on the great influences of our faith. Today we land in the final chapters of Esther, and from chapters 8, 9 and 10 I read a few selected verses. Esther chapter 9 and verse 1. On the 13th day of the 12th month, the month of Adar, the edict commanded by the king was to be carried out. On this day the enemies of the Jews had hoped to overpower them, but now the tables were turned and the Jews got the upper hand of those who hated them. From Esther chapter 8 and verse 17, in every province and in every city, wherever the edict of the king came, there was joy and gladness among the Jews, with feasting and celebrating, and many people of other nationalities became Jews because fear of the Jews had seized them. And from Esther chapter 9 verses 20 to 22, he, Mordecai, wrote to all the Jews to observe the 14th and 15th days of the month of Adar every year as days of feasting and joy, and giving presents of food to one another and gifts to the poor. And so the story reaches its triumphant close. The original death decree against the Jews cannot be cancelled. Persian law made royal edicts permanent, but a new decree is issued in the king's name. It legally empowered every Jewish family to assemble, defend themselves, and destroy anyone who attacked them on the very same day that Haman had chosen for their annihilation. Couriers race the news across the empire. When Mordecai steps out in royal robes, the city of Susa erupts in celebration. Many non-Jews begin to align themselves with the Jewish community out of respect and healthy fear. One man's hatred had nearly erased a people. One woman's courage and a well-placed relative flipped the entire empire's power structure overnight. And from chapter 9 it records what happened when the 13th of Adar arrived. Instead of a massacre, the Jews gained the upper hand everywhere. In Susa, they defeated 500 attackers, plus Haman's 10 sons. Across the rest of the empire, another 75,000 enemies fell. Strikingly, the Jews took no plunder. They fought for survival and justice, not greed. The next day they rested and feasted. Mordecai then wrote letters instituting a new annual holiday called Purim, from the Persian word for lots, because Haman had cast lots to pick the massacre date. Every year, on the 14th and 15th of Adar, Jews are to celebrate with feasting, sending gifts of food to one another, and giving generously to the poor. And chapter 10 ends quietly and on a hopeful note. King Xerxes continues ruling, but Mordecai, now second in command, works tirelessly for the good of his people and the welfare of all Jews. The empire is stable, and a Jewish voice sits at the very center of power. Queen Esther is regarded as one of the greatest heroines in all of Jewish history, and whose story is read every year at the Feast of Purim. Esther had a deep sense of destiny in her life, a feeling that she had come to a royal position for such a time as this. This is undoubtedly the main lesson that we learn from her life. The fact that God's timing is punctual and perfect. We must learn to trust that timing and recognize that our presence in God's kingdom is not by chance, but always by choice. Each one of us has come to the kingdom for such a time as this.